We've got about 80% of the demo complete. Today we're gonna switch gears a little bit and we're gonna talk about the designs and renders that my girlfriend Lynn has worked up in designing this project. We are currently at a point where we have 4 properties in Oregon. They've performed super well, way above our expectations. We renovated every house that we bought. The 4th property that we did was actually a separate garage barn structure that we have on a 12-acre lot where we had the main house, and we turned that barn into a tech studio. So that was a kind of a pandemic project that we did, and the response has been great. That brings us to here on this tiny home resort. As we've been in Idaho just grinding, doing our thing, Lynn's been working hard, maintaining the properties that we have. There's a ton that goes into it, as well as getting everything ready and ordering and setting up the renders, so we know exactly what she's trying to execute. So the concept is going to be this for the smoke jumper. So at this current point in time, we have sewer hookups and electrical hookups for 8 properties, or 8, RV, tiny homes, whatever you want to call it, but we're only going to utilize 6 at the current point. So we have opted to go with 5 hollow pluses from Drop Structures and then 1 duo, and the duo is an 88 unit. And then we have a commercial building that we're calling the smoke jumper that's about 1,200 square feet. We've just kind of really gone back and forth and debated. We actually talked to a couple of businesses about potentially opening something inside the smoke jumper. And really our original concept in the very beginning was we were gonna have 5 tiny houses, 1 separate unit for washer and dryer, so kind of like a common area laundry unit. It's great, but if we're buying the 6th unit, it's really not gonna make any revenue. We decided that we're gonna turn the smoke jumper building into a common area / hangout, lobby, coffee bar, game room. So we're gonna make that an actual full guest experience. If you've been on the walkthroughs, and I'll show some of that B-roll here of us walking through the commercial building, it's got a lot of work. So it was an original smoke jumper building, which means the smoke jumpers would stay there here on BLM land, which is about a mile up the street. There's a BLM facility. And this was back in the 50s and 60s that they would, that they occupied this building. And then it got, sold privately to the owner that we bought this from. And it had been pretty much just used for storage, maybe a little businesses here and there, but for the most part it was just storage when we bought it. So we are going through our process of redesigning that completely. This is what it looks like now, and this is what it's gonna look like after we're done. So we are gonna open up the front part of the building, and we are going to create an open concept so that basically, obviously, there isn't 2 levels. All the way through. There will be a loft level, so it'll be kind of like an indoor loft area at the top. Towards the back of the house, where it will be a game room, or just on a kind of a cool hangout area. Foosball tables, video game, arcade, whatever. Just something that makes someone have another, activity and just kind of hang out, something to do. Making that a common area gives guests a little bit of a separate area location that offers some additional amenities. And if they're looking to, congregate, maybe they book 2 or 3 units and they've got family with them, I think it'll give them an extra place that they can hang out. We'll have the loft in the back. Underneath the loft will be a washer dryer area where we'll have our washer and dryer. We will make this also just like, I guess, kind of like a Starbucks, kind of, if you want to bring your laptop over here and just drink some coffee and work or hang out. And then the front door that's solid now, so it's got a door and then a solid face. We're gonna actually, obviously, replace the doors, replace the windows, brand new, obviously we'll have to repaint it, refinish it, and then we're gonna put like a garage door, like a bar top almost, so you'll see a bar top that'll run, and then a garage door that'll fold up. So it'll obviously bring a lot more light into the building, and it will, allow people to kind of have an inside-outside look. Along with all that, being pretty ambitious, we're gonna design a deck that will wrap around, and you'll see on the render that'll kind of wrap out through the front. We're gonna make it covered because obviously there is snow in the wintertime, and I'm not necessarily saying people are gonna hang out on the deck in the wintertime, but I do think, not wanting to trudge through 3 feet of snow to get into the main building is something that people will appreciate. So we're gonna add a deck here with a pergola or cover here. And then we're also, if you look at the render here, we're gonna put in a couple electric charging stations so that we can accommodate folks that are here on electric vehicles. The movement of people moving from environmentally, friendly electric cars and just the utility that electric cars offer is a very real thing. We know a lot of our guests, and I've seen it even being here in Idaho City, driving through in Teslas and electric vehicles. I think it's important. Range anxiety is a real thing. So being able to offer an electric charging station for at least a couple spots here, I think will be a big benefit in kind of helping, reach out to guests that do drive electric vehicles. So we've got a couple charging stations, we got the deck, we got the pergola, we got the loft in the back, and then we'll have, like I said, an open living room with a TV, bar top area for people to hang out, bring food over, make food, whatever they want to do. And we think it's going to be great. I think it'll be super awesome just to kind of have this like functional, you're probably a like-minded person with the people that are staying there. So I think, if you want to socialize and you want to come over and hang out with the people in the main house, I think it'll be, a cool vibe. Now, obviously for us, monetization is an issue. We're not monetizing it. So, that's why we went with 6 fully, inhabitable units with a little bit of room to grow to 8. So, we're just gonna have to take a look at it. And, in here, in these videos, we're just being completely transparent as far as like our thought process, our plans, because again, there wasn't really many YouTube videos of people opening tiny home villages or resorts or things, and it's this huge kind of like topic, but I haven't really seen anyone document this experience. So that was part of a big reason of why I wanted to do this. So that's the plan on the main building. We will jump now to the tiny homes. And it's interesting because renders have a way of looking, a little not super authentic. So obviously they're renders, right? So they're not 100% accurate, or they don't, I guess the feeling is it doesn't feel like it's a home when you look at the renders. But in knowing Lynn, I know that basically she'll decorate these in a way that's going to feel very contemporary, very modern, but still cozy. And I think maybe that's what's missing a little bit of the renders here, which is fine. All we're really looking to do with the renders is make sure kind of our dimensions fit, the thoughts we're thinking. On our other properties, we didn't really render. We would just buy things and kind of like play around with it and look at it. But when you do this, you realize that when you're buying things and you think it looks good and then you put it in the spot, it doesn't actually fit. Or it doesn't just look right, so we wanted to kind of get that render process out of the way so we could have kind of our own visuals. So you'll see here in the tiny home, our focus is making sure they are completely self-reliant units. So drop structures was great, they worked with us. So this Hollow Plus model didn't necessarily come with a full bathroom sink. So it did have a bathroom, but there was usually just the kitchen sink. We've got them retrofitting a custom fit for us where they will have a sink. It just felt a little weird to Lynn to not have a bathroom sink, even though it's only 5 feet away to walk around to the kitchen sink. She wanted that delineation. So we are doing a bathroom, a full shower, bathroom, toilet, obviously, and a sink. And then there will be basically like a barn door or a sliding door that will separate the bathroom from the kitchen / living room area. You can see here in the living room area, there will be a full-size sofa. She's picked up some super cool sofas from Crate and Barrel that are really high quality, pull out into a sleeper really easily. That was another thing we looked at, was like trying to find couches that pull into sleepers if you stayed at hotels. And it's like, oh my gosh, I got my finger jammed in there, or there's sharp edges. So, trying to find the right pull-out sofa was something that Lynn spent a lot of time focusing on and trying to find the right fit. So we've got very nice couches that will pull into sofas there. You can see that we'll have a TV, so people can obviously watch movies, TVs, hang out in the living room. And then kind of my thing and what we learned from the tech studio that we built in Oregon is making sure that we have a fully functional desktop area where we will provide a monitor, keyboard, docking station, and a mouse, so that someone can just literally take their MacBook, take their Windows, or take their laptop, whether it's Windows or Mac, plug it right in, and they'll have full access to a wireless keyboard, mouse. So it's really like if you left your home office or you left your office, that you would feel very little, if any, and maybe even a better experience, just because you're going to be working on a nice ultra-wide screen monitor than you would have if you were working from home. So we want people to feel like, cool, I'm plugged in, I'm ready to go. And I know for me, making sure that I'm able to plug in wherever I go, I know how important that is. And like I said, the reception we've had from the guests and the tech people that have stayed at our properties, that's been a big win to them. So that's what this area will be here. It'll have a swing out monitor on an arm that can swing back so that it can be kind of a kitchen bar area. So if you want to eat there, you can eat, at what would be the normal tech studio layout area. And then moving over towards the kitchen, You will see that it's got a full kitchen as far as it's got a sink. It'll have a little cooktop stove. We haven't quite decided on microwaves, how we're gonna implement that, because obviously we're space challenged. We'll definitely get it figured out with coffee makers, a little bit of shelving for pots and pans, and we wanna make sure people have the full ability to feel like they can go to the grocery store, they can load up on whatever they're gonna need if they're staying 2 or 3 days, and they can cook all they want. Now, we will also be building decks to accommodate the tiny homes. So with every tiny home will be a deck side by side that will also have a barbecue grill on it. So, you know, sometimes when you're cooking in a tiny space, you know, smell, all that, you don't want to have all that. We do think a lot of people will grill and barbecue. So of course, we've got still Herculean efforts that we have to go, but I wanted to kind of share with you again Lynn's vision of what this is going to look like. I'm super stoked about it, other than the fact that we actually have to execute it. So render, execution, reality are all completely separate things, but I feel confident that with the people that I have with me that's been part of my team for the last 3 or 4 years, plus the people that we're meeting in Idaho City that have really opened their arms to us and said, hey, we want you to be successful, we want this to work, we're willing to help, tell us where you want us, tell us how we can help. It's been a huge lift to us, just in the project from a work standpoint, but just obviously really in a community standpoint. Everything else is kind of looking good. Will tell you the one thing that is got me concerned and that I am working through is figuring out a solid Wi-Fi solution. So when you're in a rural area, Wi-Fi is spotty, CenturyLink is the main provider. There's a couple, Starlink is here, and certain people get great speeds, certain people don't get great speeds at all. There's, you know, satellite, there's fiber optic, but no one in town has it. But fiber optic runs to this school here and just stops and nobody has it. So we're working through that because we do know if we're gonna offer this, you know, tech experience, that it's gonna have to make sense. And if someone comes to utilize our space from a tech standpoint and they don't have good Wi-Fi, there's no point, right? So those are all the things we're still working with. We're gonna come back to demo on our next video. Stay tuned for our next video. Appreciate you guys that are here with us. Look forward to catching you on the next one. Peace.